Vendor bills are going to allow us to track our expenses against our budgeted cost and our committed cost, to understand our budget and to make sure we're not going over budget at any point in our project. If we look at our job costing section of our budget, we have our budgeted cost column wherein we see all of our approved numbers, our committed cost column where we see all of the money that we have agreed to spend with our vendors, and then we have our bills column, which our vendor bills will populate. To start a vendor bill, there are going to be 3 different ways we can do this. The first way that I want to show you is going to be up top to the right in the toolbar by pressing this plus document button. When I click that button, I'm going to see all of the different document templates that I have in my JobTread. All of you will have, no matter what you've created, at the bottom left, this vendor bill option. When I click into vendor bill, I get to decide on my vendor. And so I'm going to choose my Hunter Plumbing vendor. And from here, I get to decide if my bill source is going to come from items straight from the budget, or if I want to look at my pre-existing vendor orders. If I go from items from the budget, I can look at all items within the budget and decide exactly which ones I would like to select for this vendor bill. I can also change the way I am viewing the budget by looking outside of the cost group to another view. I can go over one column, and instead of looking at committed cost, I could look at the estimated cost or the approved cost. And when I'm deciding how much I want to bill, I can decide if I would like to choose the entire amount from the budget, or I can go to the right-hand side of this pop-up underneath the percentage column, and I can decide if I want to do everything, if I would like to do just half, or if I would like to do any other configuration. For right now, I'm going to choose everything that we've budgeted from our committed costs and say create. Now we're in the bill form here. All areas of our documents are click to edit. So I can go to the top right and I can click who the document was prepared by. I can go over to the right and say who it was prepared for. I can look into the bill's details and tell them, please see below for billing details. And then we have the items from our budget. You also have this little percentage mark next to description that if you click on, you will be able to see the progress bar of this document, where you and your vendor can see the approved cost listed for the items, how much was already billed, and then how much this bill is paying out. You can attach this to a vendor bill number if needed, and you can add your own subject. So for this, I can say Hunter Plumbing Bill Anderson job. At the bottom right, I'm going to click that green save button. And here we have a few different options. We can click this paper airplane to send the document if you want to be proactive about your billing and go ahead and send the bill to your vendor so that they have a place to attach their vendor invoice when they're ready. You can send this to payable by clicking on this yellow $ to approve for payment, to have it waiting to be paid out when that's ready in your schedule. Or you can go ahead and record a payment by clicking on that green $. When we click into record payment, you're going to get a pop-up where you get to mark all of your payment history. When you're in this new payment, first up you get to decide the date, so you can backdate this payment if you need. So we can say 2 weeks ago. You get to put in card, check, or cash, or you can write in ACH. I'm going to choose check. I'm going to put in a reference number that can help us sync to QuickBooks Online, any relevant notes, and then the amount. This amount is at first showing us the total amount that we have on the bill, how much is unapplied and how much is currently applied. And here I can go ahead and put in half the bill if I want to put in half the bill. And here we're seeing $1,500 has been applied and $1,500 is remaining. When I click on that save button, I see that this has been moved to a payable status, and that's because I only paid half of the bill instead of the whole bill. And we can see that on the document itself. We have the total still at $3,000, we've backdated half the payment, and we still have half the payment left for us. If I go and click record payment once again, then for today, I can go ahead and say, here is our next payment. And I can click on this save. And here you're able to add as many payments as you need to piece out the total payment to your vendor. Now this document is in green for paid, and the entire $3,000 has been paid, and the document is showing the paper trail for that payment. If we go back to our budget, we are going to be able to go back over to that orange job costing section, and now the bills column has been filled out with all $3,000, which aligns with our committed cost from our purchase order and our budgeted cost from our customer proposal. When I click into any of the line items, I'm going to be able to see the bill from this approved number where it came from. As you can see next to the bills, we also are seeing our documentation from our committed cost, that is from our purchase order. And one of the other quick ways to make a bill would have simply been going into that previously established purchase order, and under this approved purchase order, I could have simply clicked plus vendor bill. And when I click this plus vendor bill, I choose the template, and here I get to already have that document created for me for our bill, the way we did when we just created it from scratch a moment ago. I do want to point out that JobTread does try to protect you from double billing. So for example, we already paid out Hunter Plumbing just a moment ago when we created a bill from scratch. Since I clicked in to make another bill from our purchase order, JobTread is waving a bit of a flag here. On the right side of my screen, you are seeing $3,000 has been committed, but this bill plus previous bills exceeds this amount by another $3,000. So JobTread will allow me to go ahead and bill Hunting Plumber a second time, but it's letting me know you've already billed this company, you are about to double bill them. And so it's giving us a little bit of a heads up that we've already paid this vendor. There's a third and final way that you can track your bills. On the top right of your screen, you have this quick action toolbar. And these buttons are here for quick access for whenever you're in a mobile device, especially for your field workers. If you click on this receipt icon, you can record an expense and track this in your bills. So I'm clicking into that receipt icon up top, and here I'm able to drag in a receipt, choose a vendor, and choose a job. I'm going to attach a receipt from Home Depot as an example. We've uploaded this Home Depot receipt by dragging and dropping, but if you were on your mobile device, you're welcome to see that on the top left, alongside upload and copy, there's a camera icon for you to live take a photo of a receipt instead of having to bring back hard copies to the office. Here, you can choose the job, which is auto-populated because I was already in the Anderson job, and you can choose the vendor. Here, you might have your field workers stop what they're doing, not fill in any more information, and choose at the bottom the Save as Draft option. This will go to your cost inbox for you to further review. Or if you are doing this yourself, you're free to go ahead and put in a description and attach a specific item to this. So I am going to choose our framing and our lumber package here. And you can put in your amount. So I'm going to say that this was $2,000. And if you click that blue Show Additional Options button, then you get to see the document template that this is going to. So I'm going to make this a bill. I can attach a relevant bill number if needed. I can choose a date here, and I can push this to QuickBooks Online as a bill. I can further say which account this needs to be linked to, and a QuickBooks class if applicable. I can go ahead and click Approve for payment. And now, when you go to your documents, you can click into the Documents tab, and under Vendor Bills, you can see that we have one payable vendor bill now. And when we click into that, we're able to see the Home Depot bill that we started to create. We can click on into this, edit any of the details that we need by clicking on these View Item Details. We can give a subject to this, make sure that it's pushed over to QuickBooks, and record our payment. And here I'm going to click on plus record payment, and then today I'm going to pay by check I'm going to pay the entire $2,000 and click Save. And now this bill is paid. And when we go back to our budget, we can see that, like our plumbing, our bills column has now been populated. And you can see here in the bills column that what we just put in for framing is now in red. And that's because our bill went over budget. Compared to our budgeted cost for framing, where we had $114.50, we've gone majorly over budget here. And so JobTread is waving a flag to let us know that our bills are going over budget and our actual costs are outpacing what we had approved. So that is showing in red. And if you would like to learn more about how to reconcile your actual costs with your budgeted costs, then you can go to the help desk and look at our change order information. In the meantime, if you have any questions, reach out to your customer success manager or email support@jobtread.com. Thank you.